Remember when earning a six-figure salary meant you'd made it? Yeah, me neither. These days, even folks pulling in $100,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. Inflation's been eating away at our wallets, and salaries haven't kept up for decades. What used to be the gold standard now barely covers rent, groceries, and a Netflix subscription. Six figures might sound like a lot, but when you factor in skyrocketing housing costs, medical bills, and student loans, it's not the golden ticket it once was. People are stretching every dollar just to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, the gap between what we earn and what we need keeps growing. How did the land of opportunity turn into the land of just getting by? It's a question we're all asking, but the answers seem further away than ever. Owning a home, having a couple of kids, maybe a dog in the yard. That's what we grew up thinking life should look like. But now, even in the cheapest states, you need six figures to even sniff at that dream. The most expensive states? Forget it. Who's supposed to afford a $240,000 income? Where did we go so wrong? The American dream used to mean working hard and watching your efforts pay off. Now it feels like running on a treadmill that's always speeding up. Families are giving up on the idea of homeownership altogether, settling for rentals where the rent goes up but nothing else improves. The dream isn't dead, but it's definitely on life support. Is it time to redefine what making it means? Or do we fight to bring back the dream we were promised? You want a decent job, better get a degree. But good luck with that, because student loan debt has hit $1.77 trillion. That's trillion with a T. It's a heavy weight keeping millennials and Gen Z from buying homes or even moving out of their parents' basements. Does higher education still mean a better future? Or is it just a fancier way to say financial trap? The cost of college has exploded, far outpacing inflation, and while wages stagnate, the debt piles up. For many, the first taste of financial independence is a loan repayment plan that feels more like a life sentence. It's no wonder people are questioning whether college is even worth it anymore. We say education is the key to success, but at this price, it feels more like a locked door. When will we start valuing education without it costing a fortune? Let's face it, sometimes a little indulgence feels like the only way to stay sane. Whether it's a $7 latte, a concert ticket, or a weekend getaway, spending on small joys is how many of us cope with the grind. But is it really about the joy, or are we just trying to fill a void? Social media doesn't help. Our feeds are flooded with curated images of our peers' perfect lives. Vacations, luxury goods, and high-end dining make us feel like we're falling behind. So, what do? We swipe our credit cards, hoping to buy a slice of the happiness we see on our screens. The problem is it's an endless cycle. The quick dopamine hit fades, leaving us with more debt and fewer savings. Is it time to rethink what really brings us happiness, or are we too far down this rabbit hole? Picture this. You've finally found a job listing that seems perfect. Then, you scroll down to the requirements. 5 years of experience for an entry-level role. Seriously? It's like employers want the impossible. How are we supposed to get experience if no one's willing to give us a shot? This catch-22 has become a defining feature of the modern job market. Companies claim they're looking for fresh talent, but they're unwilling to train anyone. Instead, they're demanding specialized skills and experience that most job seekers simply don't have. For many, this means endless unpaid internships or settling for jobs outside their field just to get by. The frustration is palpable. How did entry-level jobs turn into an unattainable dream? Maybe it's time for employers to rethink their priorities. And for us to demand better. Here's a refreshing thought. Skills are finally starting to matter more than degrees. Companies like IBM and Walmart are leading the way, hiring based on what you can do rather than where you went to school. Sounds promising, right? But here's the catch. True entry-level roles are still rare. As of 2024, only 2.5% of job postings don't require prior experience. That's a pretty small slice of the pie. And while the shift towards skills-based hiring is a step in the right direction, it's not happening fast enough. For many workers, this means shelling out for expensive certifications or online courses just to stay competitive. So, is the job market really changing, or are we just trading one barrier for another? It's progress, sure, but it's progress with a hefty price tag. When will opportunity truly be accessible to all? Long commutes have become a silent thief, stealing hours from our lives one traffic jam at a time. Imagine waking up at 5 a.m. just to fight your way through bumper-to-bumper traffic, only to collapse on your couch 14 hours later with barely enough energy to eat, let alone enjoy your evening. Remote work seemed like the answer during the pandemic, proving that many jobs don't require a physical office. But now, some companies are dragging us back to our desks. Why? tax breaks, and real estate deals. Turns out, many businesses own the buildings they're forcing employees to commute to. It's not about productivity, it's about profits. Meanwhile, those of us stuck on the road are left wondering, when will our time be valued as much as their bottom line? Are we really destined to spend our lives in traffic for someone else's gain? Owning a home feels as unattainable as winning the lottery. With skyrocketing housing prices and stagnant wages, more people are renting indefinitely, watching as their dreams of homeownership fade. Even for those who manage to save up for a down payment, the monthly mortgage payments often stretch budgets to the breaking point. Renters aren't faring much better. Landlords are quick to hike rents while offering little in return. For younger generations, the idea of owning a home has shifted from an expectation to an unlikely goal. And it's not just about the money. It's about stability, community, and a sense of accomplishment. Without those, how do we build a future that feels secure? If housing continues to be a luxury instead of a right, what kind of society are we creating for the next generation? Raising kids is one of life's greatest joys and one of its biggest expenses. From daycare costs that rival college tuition to medical bills and basic necessities, the financial burden of parenthood is pushing many to reconsider starting a family. It's not just about money, it's about time and energy. With both parents often working full-time just to make ends meet, who's left to actually raise the children? For many, the math simply doesn't add up. And let's not forget the broader implications. Fewer children mean an aging population with fewer workers to support it. The question isn't just whether we can afford to have kids, but whether we can afford not to. How do we balance the cost of living with the cost of ensuring a future generation? It's a dilemma that demands more than just personal sacrifice. It demands systemic change. Immigration has become a contentious issue, with arguments on both sides of the aisle. Some say we need more workers to fill labor gaps, while others believe we should prioritize supporting the workers already here. The truth is, our economy depends on a delicate balance. Immigrants often take jobs in industries that struggle to find willing local workers, from agriculture to construction. But at the same time, there's an undeniable strain on resources like housing and healthcare when populations grow too fast without the infrastructure to support them. It's a tightrope walk, and finding a solution that benefits everyone feels like chasing a moving target. How do we create a system that values hard work, supports growth, and doesn't leave anyone behind? Maybe the answer isn't about choosing one side, but finding common ground that works for all of us. Saving money used to be a cornerstone of the American dream. You worked hard, spent wisely, and put a little away for the future. But now, saving feels more like a luxury than a necessity. With wages stagnating and costs climbing, many families are lucky if they break even each month. Unexpected expenses, a medical bill, a car repair, or even a rent hike can throw entire budgets into chaos. For younger generations, the idea of saving for a house, a wedding, or even retirement seems laughable. How can you save for the future when you're barely surviving the present? Yet, saving remains critical for financial security. The challenge is finding ways to make it possible again. Should we demand better wages, cut unnecessary expenses, or rethink our financial priorities? Whatever the answer, one thing's clear. Saving needs to make a comeback. Artificial intelligence is changing the game, and not always for the better. From automated customer service to self-driving trucks, AI is taking over jobs that once provided stable incomes for millions of Americans. While tech companies celebrate efficiency and innovation, many of us are left wondering, where does that leave the human workforce? It's not just blue-collar jobs at risk. AI is also creeping into white-collar industries, writing reports, analyzing data, and even making decisions. The pace of change is staggering, and our policies aren't keeping up. Job retraining programs sound great in theory, but in practice, they're often underfunded and inaccessible to those who need them most. As we rush to embrace AI, we need to ask ourselves, how do we ensure that progress doesn't leave people behind? Can innovation coexist with job security, or are we on a collision course with inequality? The future feels like a big question mark. AI is taking jobs, the cost of living keeps climbing, and the American dream is starting to look like a myth. But we're resilient, right? If we've made it this far, maybe we'll figure out what's next. Or maybe we'll just keep scrolling and hope for the best. What else can we do?